Okay, you can probably hear in the background um, my son and his friend. He's very happy because he has his driver's license, and that's great. And also, a tube amplifier here is just incredible. The amount of noise I'm getting out of it. I love it. It's a Vox. I think it's like a 15-watt amplifier that is making this sound. Makes me very happy. But I'm going to put it in standby mode. There we go, and we're rid of that. And I'm just looking at these books here. I'm looking at stuff. Now, I do not have the original K&RC book. And I've given away a lot of my books. But this is a classic right here, Stephen's Unix Network Programming. And in some ways, I never understood it. Oh, there's a picture of my daughter in there. Isn't that nice? But I've been working for a long time. You make the mistake because you work with people that are so much more competent than you in so many other ways, and that makes you question, where you are and stuff like that. And I've made many mistakes by questioning myself. And I wanted to make this video because so much has happened in the I don't even know what you would call the world. Is it the programming world? Is it the .com world? Like, I don't even know what it is these days, right? But so much has changed, and everything is moving into the cloud, and everything is about DevOps. And I was on LinkedIn, and it was fascinating to me. It was absolutely fascinating that I went back to try to find it, and I couldn't even find it. But it was a description of like DevOps, and there was like 15 levels of going down all this stuff and going up all this stuff and then going down all this other stuff of technologies. There were so many levels of technologies, and I was like, oh man, I'm doomed. I'm never gonna work again. Look at this. You have to understand Ansible and Puppet and this and that and all this other stuff. And a guy posted underneath it, he said, yeah, companies looking to save money, focus your attention on the operating system, the network, and something else. And I forget what the other one was. And it was kind of refreshing to me because I was like, yeah, has everyone forgotten about all this stuff? Are you just going to pay into the cloud to handle this for you because you're incompetent? And it really opened my eyes because like everyone has been telling me, it's been shoved down my throat about this whole DevOps model and all this other stuff. And I'm like, but is there any reality left anymore? I don't know. And I'm not trying to criticize all the people that are doing great work and complicated work and all of that. But I have to look and say, well, realistically, with someone who just needs to do something, do they need 15 to 20 steps into getting their code running? Now, one thing is obviously a problem in all of this, and that is ransomware, right? So you need to detach and get your storage away from anything that can actually touch it. No one should actually be able to touch it. We're going to get to that point. There's no way around it. And it's going to have a cost. It's going to be expensive. It's not like the old days where you're just, like I've never done this, but someone can mount some data and allow it through some kind of malware to have it encrypted, So you have to be careful around all that stuff. And I totally get that. But is it a 15 to 20 step process to actually have something running? And it was really surprising to me to have someone saying this is ridiculous and you should focus on the basics, and to have so many people underneath saying, yeah, this is so true, but the other thing is that I want to put this out there. My expertise if I have any left. Like, my expertise used to be just Unix systems in general, but they get more complex, and I'm not a Unix expert anymore. But one expertise I have is that you have either logs or outputs around the work that you're doing that is statistically important, right? And you need to process this, and you need to make decisions based on this. And what I have learned is that if you just allow this data to flow and then you put it into the cloud, such as Amazon, you are going to be paying enormous amounts of money. I'm talking about tens to 20s to 50s of thousands of dollars every month, right? And it's inexcusable to pay that amount of money. So there's this whole thing about, this is my specialty. My specialty is, I process that data for no fee, right? And I manage to give you the information. This is if I work for you, but I don't work for anyone anymore, right? But, you process that data and then you provide, percentiles, histograms, whatever the hell you want. And it doesn't cost very much. But now these cloud service providers, as I've noticed, as you move stuff into it, they want tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And also on top of that, they want to charge you every time you're doing a query. Every time you do a query, it can be $20. It could be hundreds of dollars. Who knows how much data you're going through. So I think that there is it's not a scam, but there is a risk going on with all of these, with a lot of people that are starting up companies now, thinking that they just want to run everything within the cloud. You will go bankrupt. So this takes me back to the what I used to say with the second and third company that I used to work with. There was the trifecta of dot-com failure. And it was Sun Microsystems, Cisco, and EMC, because they would eat up all of your profits, right, before you could ever succeed. And I'm going to tell you now that the cloud is the same thing. They are going to eat up all of your profits. Think about it. I used to manage, let's say, let's just throw a number out there, 100 million events a day, right? And it costs nothing. But when you suddenly throw that into the crowd and into the cloud, suddenly this would, like, this is just me looking at, what's the rate for this, right? Suddenly you're paying tens of thousands of dollars a month, and on top of that you are paying every time you do a query. It doesn't make sense. So I think we are back. I think this is the exciting thing about where we are right now. So during that dot-com failure period where Sun Microsystems and Oracle and Cisco were eating up all your money, we are back to that again. Except it is cloud systems now that are eating up all of your money. So if you need to be competitive, and I used to think if you wanted to be competitive, you would go into the cloud. It's totally seeming to me that it's wrong, because you're paying every time you do everything. The big, successful companies of the future are not going into the cloud because they know they're not going to make any money there. So, my big thing for myself going forward, and where I think I want to invest my time, is that I want to invest in your logs. I want to invest in your output. And I don't necessarily want you to throw that money into the cloud and to just eat it, thinking that you're getting some type of bargain. Because the whole concept is that you throw your stuff into the cloud, and because of the efficiencies, even though it costs so much more, because of the efficiencies and the answers that you're getting very quickly, somehow you're making out and you're making money. I don't think you are. I don't think you are. Does it? Can you wait 24 hours for the data that you need? Do you need it within 5 seconds? These are the things that you have to ask yourself. And I'm thinking there are a lot of companies out there, and not-for-profits, and then municipalities, and all this other stuff, that we need our information in a week. Let's have things happen, and then we'll get the information in a week. Why would you put that in the cloud? Why do you want to pay all this money for that stuff, right? So we are back, and this has been a revelation to me. We are back to that time where everything is expensive suddenly, and everyone is promising you everything, and it's not realistic. And you can do it yourself. And so I see that, there is a need for a business around this. Now, who knows? I might just end up working for some company doing whatever garbage, But I do not think it's worth the money to throw all of that into the cloud. I just don't think it's realistic. And I hope that companies aren't being forced into this, because it doesn't make sense financially to throw that stuff there. So I'm going to be thinking for a while and coming up with like a business plan about how to help these companies to save, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Don't allow the cloud to dictate what the norm is. They are full of crap. You can process data without the cloud. If you think you need them, you're absolutely wrong. But they can provide a lot of things that you can't provide. And then you have to make those decisions, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So anyway, it's been it's been a good learning experience for me, because, I've been told for the last few years how things go. But I also have had my own knowledge and my own sense about things. And now I am seeing what is going on, and I'm reading from other people about what is going on. And anyone who believes that the cloud is simply the answer is being fooled, in my opinion. It's absolutely wrong. You have to take every piece of information that you have, every piece of data. You have to think about it. And I know that sucks, because I know everyone wants just like some simple solution to every problem they have. But the reality is, if you just hand that over to someone else and you start paying for that, you're going to go bankrupt. You're absolutely going to go bankrupt. Nobody can afford to just hand something over to a cloud company and think that they're going to make money. You're not. So in some ways, it's a bit of a scam. I want to investigate this more. I'm quite happy, and I have a very good conscience, in the sense that in the past I did not use this, and it cost the companies that I've worked for absolutely nothing in comparison to do the analysis that they needed to do. So yeah, I'm very happy. I want to spread this. I want to talk to other companies and understand where their expenses are, what they need to be processed as far as their outputs and their data logs. And I think I will start a business around that. It just absolutely makes sense, because you can save so much money by avoiding all of this cloud stuff. And I want to say, you don't have to avoid the cloud completely, but you cannot just throw everything into the cloud. It's going to cost you so much money. If you want to throw your logs and your outputs, for example, into the clouds, you have to figure out what you're throwing out there and eliminate all the other stuff, because you will go broke and your company will go bankrupt if you continue on just throwing that stuff out there. So I will be back at some point in time. I'm in no rush because right now I have to think about my entire future. But this is important stuff. And I really do believe they'll be working on this in the future. If anyone thinks that they need help with their outputs and their logs with regards to generating statistics like percentiles and stuff like that, but they don't have a lot of money to have a cloud service to provide that, you can reach out and I will always respond and I may be able to help you. But right now I'm just thinking about this stuff and I'm thinking about how much money can be saved. And in the future, I will have a business around this to do this sort of thing for these companies that actually want to save money. Thank you very much for watching this video. It's been educational for me, not only for you, but for me, I hope. Have a good night.